Hey, what's up, guys? Live here reviewing the M8 from Xtrfy. It's a really unique shape, but before I get into the specifics, if you have 17 by 9 hands or larger, I would avoid this mouse. And for reference, my hands are 17 by 9. I think this mouse is really good for small hands, the claw or palm grip specifically. If you fingertip, there's definitely some downsides that might be fixable, but I'd probably get a different mouse with flatter mouse buttons. I'll quickly go into the general build quality of the mouse, and the mouse gates are completely fine, and I personally wouldn't upgrade them. The sensor is centered, but I do actually have a defective copy and it doesn't work completely fine in wireless mode. And Xtrfy support is sending out a new copy. So yes, that means I've been using this mouse for over a month with the wire plugged in, which actually worked surprisingly well, even with the unique charging port placement, which is in the bottom right. And I did that just by anchoring it from the side instead of doing it from the top like usual. Also, I know a lot of reviewers have mentioned the coating being slippery, but I found it's better than the G Pro Superlight, which I actually have right here and I need grips for. And they're both very similar shape-wise, by the way. The Xtrfy M8 has the gimmick of the low button height. So it definitely comes down to your own personal preference and how much you sweat, and I guess how your skin is. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but you know what I'm trying to say. It'll definitely be more slippery if you have larger hands and you only fingertip or something like that because of the slope of the buttons. The further you press down on the mouse, the more likely it is to push backwards. So if you don't have palm contact, it's going to push backwards out of your fingertips. Onto the mouse buttons, and this is definitely where they made the mistake with this mouse. They went with GM 8.0s, and they aren't bend. So in my copy, they are way too stiff for the grips that I want to use to make this mouse really shine. I think you should be using palm or relaxed claw grip that lets your fingers go down as far down the mouse as possible. So, like, you want to be clicking very relaxed, just like that. And the further you bring your mouse up, it kind of, or the further you bring your fingers up, really defeats the purpose of this mouse, in my opinion. So the stiffer the mouse buttons are, the further you're going to bring your fingers up to have more force to rapidly click the mouse buttons. And personally, I do have that issue. And so once I receive my new copy, I'm going to replace these 8.0s with Guano pink dots because I really want to test out this shape at its full potential. I also want to clarify that the mouse buttons themselves with pre and post travel and consistency wherever you click on the mouse button feels great, honestly. But with so much competition out there for small mice, the mouse should work great for its intended gimmick, which is what they're advertising, right? Low button height. So if you have really stiff buttons, it really makes it hard to utilize that part of the mouse that they're advertising. And the further you bring your fingers up, you might as well just grab a different mouse that's also small but more comfortable to click at that position, right? Anyways, I don't want to ramble about this for too long, but hopefully I got my point across. They still did an amazing job with all the buttons on this mouse. The side buttons are amazing, and they blow the G Pro Superlight out of the water. And the scroll wheel itself is light and tactile. The click is a bit stiff, but I don't really know people who use the middle mouse button as like a really important bind. And if you do, for whatever reason, definitely let me know in the comments because I'm actually interested to find out what people use it for. But overall, for the price, I can't deny it's a really solid mouse, especially if you have smaller hands like myself and you find the Superlight too big for the grips you want to try and use. And although I have an issue with the main buttons, it's something I can personally fix myself, or you probably know someone who can fix it for you. And that goes for the coating as well. You can always just buy grips just like for the Superlight. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and for the support. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the content. Peace.